welcome to The Politicrat. I'm Omar Moore. It is Saturday, August the 29th, 2020.
You and your family struggle to make ends meet every semester of your matriculation. You had to stand in one line, to get to another line, to get to another line for somebody that might help you. You had to work an extra job or two. But you're here. For a lot of you, not all, but a lot of you, your hardest struggle was social. Some of you never fit in. You were never as cool and as popular as you wanted to be. And it bothers you. So your social struggles here became psychological. Even though you made it up the hill, you carry the baggage of rejection with you. But you're here. Or some of you went through something traumatic. You made it to the top of the hill, but not without scars and bruises. Some of you fit in too much. You were on the yard rapping on your frat block when you were supposed to be in class. Or you got caught up in the DC party life. I know how that is. I mean, we're right here in the midst of the city. Sometimes you forgot you were in school. You probably could have graduated with honors, but instead you are getting an oh yeah degree today. Oh yeah, I have class. Oh yeah, I have that paper due. Oh yeah, I have a final. You were literally too cool for school.
That was Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman. That was Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman is no longer with us. He passed away yesterday at the age of 43. Chadwick Boseman had stage 3 colon cancer, which sadly became stage 4 colon cancer, which he succumbed to yesterday with his family by his side, along with his wife. On this episode of The Politicrat, looking back at now the late but great Chadwick Boseman. Next.
You studying acting, and you got to study at Oxford, in London?
Right. Yeah, I did an exchange while I was at Howard over summer. A group of us from Howard did it, and so Felicia Rashad actually she basically taught a class once a week while we were at Howard, and then she wanted us to do this exchange, and so she got, I didn't have money to pay for this, and so she got a few of her friends together, and they paid for us to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you found out who one of her friends was.
Yeah, I didn't know at first. Like when I came back, and I've basically been holding this secret my whole career. When I came back, I got a beneficiary letter, and it said Denzel Washington paid for you. And I was like, what?
That's
what I did.
How cool is that?
Yeah. So
awesome.
So I never wanted to like ever say that until I met him, and I was doing that Rolling Stone interview, and he asked me about it, and I was like, I think I can say it now. I think I can. I made it. I made it to the point where he's not going to think I'm trying to get something from him by saying it.
Yeah.
And
Did you ever meet him?
The weird thing that happened is I did the interview, and just before the movie came out, we did the New York premiere. He came, and I met him before the article came out. So I actually, lived up to what I originally wanted to do. It was amazing.
And what'd you say to him?
He was like, well, I haven't met you yet. And I said, yeah, I got to tell you something. You pay for me to go to school. He said, oh, so that's why I'm here. You owe me money. I came to class.
That's great.
Oh, man.
That's
Amazing.
great, man. Well, the movie is a phenomenon. I mean, obviously, it's a Marvel movie. It's a comic book movie, but it's bigger than that. I mean, what do you think people are taking politically from this?
I mean, it's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know, you always get what you bring to a viewing. Part of it, what's been very interesting is you know, I would say the strength of the women in this movie, especially at this particular time, while the Me Too Time's Up movement is happening. This adds another layer to that conversation, and a very, very good layer to the conversation. So I think people are really, really responding to that part of Wakanda. I think the relationship between Killmonger and T'Challa, which is basically, you know, an African American trying to connect to his roots, and that conversation is one that I think is happening on a platform that you wouldn't normally see it happen. You know, those are conversations that happen behind closed doors. So you see Africans viewing African Americans in a different way, and African Americans viewing themselves in Africa in a different way, and everyone else is privy to that conversation. And so I think that is a very, very healthy thing for people to become more specific about their identity, and encouraging it. In most cases, you see people trying to water down things when you talk about diversity, as opposed to embracing what they actually are. And so I think that has been, you know, very refreshing and fulfilling.
Isn't that great? That's great. Yeah. That's so cool.
And it is so cool indeed. That was Chadwick Boseman with Jimmy Fallon in 2018. That was shortly around the time, or shortly after the time, that Black Panther came out in theaters. And the story that Chadwick Boseman tells there, as you heard, was the story that now is world famous and everybody knows. Denzel Washington paid for Chadwick Boseman's, I guess, his year or semester of exchange education in Oxford, at Oxford, in the UK, in England. So I thought that story was a really good story, and I felt that it would be a good idea to replay that story at this time. Only the good. Only the good. Only the good die young. That's the phrase, isn't it? Billy Joel, the singer of that song, and seems to be true. No matter how much you don't want to look at that reality. And look who is still with us. Oh, dearie me. It's very sad indeed that Chadwick Boseman is not here with us. And maybe the reason he's been taken is because he has, I don't know, maybe some more to be done, and to be done upstairs, I guess. But I think for me, I find that Chadwick Boseman was always someone who inspired, as I said before, somebody who really took stock of his life. And you heard it in that clip earlier with the commencement speech. Someone who I think was wise beyond his years too, because he appreciated life in a way that I don't know that a lot of people his age do, even at 43, which is a young age. I don't know how many 43-year-olds are that self-aware and that self-possessed and that poised. And this is someone in Hollywood I'm talking about, who worked in an industry that is ruthless and unforgiving. And for him to keep his equilibrium and his own demeanor as open and as humble as it was in an industry where there's a lot of braggadocio and arrogance and elitism and self-centeredness is, I think, a tribute to his own character. I think that Chadwick Boseman had a stellar character. Now, I don't know him personally, but from all of those who worked with him and knew him, I read the tweet from Viola Davis earlier, and also from Mark Ruffalo. They both, and by the way, they certainly would know, I think, about him. I mean, they both worked with him. But the way they describe him as someone who really did have a really good open heart. And for someone who is 43 years old, that kind of presentation, especially for someone working in Hollywood, who is a big-time actor or a big-time, director, that's unusual. So that goes to his character, and it goes to the way he was raised as well. His parents get a big hand from me as well, because there are lots of people who are in Hollywood who either their parents just didn't raise them, or they stray so far away from who they were, they completely forget the core of who they are, and then they become these completely different human beings, sometimes rather monstrous human beings at that. But Chadwick Boseman has a good sense of himself. He's a humanitarian. He's somebody who cares about the human condition and cares about people. And, he really did care about people. And you got that sense, even just those clips that I played throughout this episode, when he was speaking about Denzel Washington and meeting Denzel after Denzel, he had learned from Denzel had paid his way through this exchange program at Oxford University, which is just a wonderful gesture by Denzel. Tells you a lot about him too. And I got to meet Denzel, met him a couple of times, 2 or 3 times along the way. And he's always, at least he has been to me, very nice and personable. Someone who I think is terrific to be around him. And he's honest with you, straightforward with you, and he cracks a joke here and there too. So he's quite funny. But Chadwick Boseman, the way he recounts that story of Denzel paying for him and how much that meant to him, and then meeting Denzel and all of that, and just the way he did the imitation of Denzel when he was talking to Jimmy Fallon in that interview from 2018 that you heard me play, that I played, is just, again, it's part of character, and character means something. We're living in a world now, and especially living in the United States, where in the highest office of the land, there is no character at all shown by that individual, and the people around him don't have any character either. So, when someone like Chadwick Boseman comes along and exhibits all of those things, you feel that there's hope in the world, And when anybody else does that, exhibits these positive qualities, there's hope. And we need that right now. But unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman is not with us anymore. But, it's not often that I kind of stagger around for words like this, but Chadwick Boseman's going to be sorely missed. I mean, can we just put it like that? Chadwick Boseman is going to be sorely, sorely missed. I already did an audio clip on SoundCloud.com, which was about my immediate reaction, pretty much within the 15 minutes of me learning the news of him passing away. I did a little audio bit for SoundCloud.com. And you can find it by searching the Popcorn REEL, or searching Popcorn Reel. That's Popcorn REEL. Search that in SoundCloud.com. Search it in the search bar when you get to SoundCloud.com, and you'll be able to find that page, and it'll have the Politicrat on the top of the page, and you can see that and listen to that 7 minutes of audio that I did, 7.5 minutes, saying goodbye essentially to Chadwick Boseman. Just can't believe he's gone.
say, you should just say it. You got something to say?
No, sir, Mr. Brown.
Well, then you're just holding up the rehearsal, Mr. Bird. I can't have people holding up the rehearsal. If I can't do it right, I ain't gonna do it at all. We got to get on, get ahead. Now, you know the rules. If you're late, you're off, or you hold us up. It's no good, Mr. Bird. It's gonna cost you half a yard. Maceo, I like the party plan. I just want it in a different place. What's this here?
A snare, Mr. Brown.
A snare what?
A drum.
Correct. What's this?
A guitar.
No, it's not. Pee-wee, what's this?
Drum, Mr. Brown.
Now we getting it. What's Maceo holding?
Drum, Mr. Brown.
Fellas, what's them shiny things y'all holding over there?
Drums.
Now we all got our drums. Now when you're playing the drum, it don't matter what key you in, what bar you in, what planet you on.
But Mr. Brown, Clyde will be in a different time than the rest of the band. It doesn't work musically.
How many hit records you got, sir? Huh? Fellas, does it sound good?
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
Yeah.
God made your ears. You didn't make them. You gonna argue with God's ears? If it sound good and it feel good, then it's musical. So play it like I say play it. From the top. 1, 2, 1, 2, hit it!
I don't care about your past. I just want a love to last. I don't care, darling.
Chadwick Boseman as James Brown in the film Get On Up from 2014. That, in my view, is the best on-screen performance that Chad Boseman delivered. Followed very closely, I might add, by his performance in what turned out to be the last film released before he would pass away, the film being The Five Bloods, the film directed by Spike Lee that is now available on Netflix. It opened on Netflix back in June of this year and would have looked really great on the big screen. And I hope that you go and look back at Chadwick's work. He was someone who inspired. He was someone who lifted people up. He was someone who believed in speaking robustly for all of the good things and the uplifting things. Someone who cared about the planet, cared about people. Someone who spoke about living life. Someone who spoke about love, spoke about peace, spoke about justice. Someone who really believed in human beings and believed in the greater good that all of us have if we tap into it. You would never know that Chadwick was sick, and few apparently did. I certainly had no idea. And yet, Chadwick Boseman, through 4 years, was going through all of these chemotherapies and surgeries and still put together fine film work. I mean, that's a tribute and a testament to his fortitude and his courage and his bravery. And it shows you how focused and determined he was, and how confident and how very strong he was. It's remarkable. And now he gets to rest. Such a short life. But I'm sure that the angels are taking care of Chadwick Boseman.
That is not what I am talking about. I am not ready to be without you. A man who has not prepared his children for his own death has failed as a father. Have I ever failed you? Never. Tell me how to best protect Wakanda. I want to be a great king, Baba. Just like you. You're going to struggle. So you need to surround yourself with people you trust. You're a good man with a good heart. And it's hard for a good man to be king.
That was Chadwick Boseman and John Carney in Black Panther from 2018. The film directed by Ryan Coogler. Black Panther, of course, was a runaway success at the box office worldwide, grossing well over $1 billion, almost $2 billion. It was a smash hit and, of course, won Academy Awards in 2019. Many consider that the best Chadwick Boseman performance. He was very good as King T'Challa.
War is about money. Money is about war. Every time I walk out my front door, see cops patrolling my neighborhood like it's some kind of police state, I can feel just how much I ain't worth.
Gave us something to believe in. A direction, a purpose. Taught us about black history when it wasn't really popular back then. Schooled us about drinking the anti-comic Kool-Aid they were selling. Yeah, he was our Malcolm and our Martin. Norm had a way of keeping us from going off.
He wasn't no Tom. He was a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
He certainly was. He certainly was. When you look back at Chadwick Boseman on the big screen, you kind of think that some of the roles he chose and that he played were really parts of his own life in real life. Certainly that particular scene that you just heard from Spike Lee's Da 5 Bloods, where Chadwick Boseman plays Stormin' Norman. And he is looked at with fond reverence. And that, of course, is how I and many, many millions of others around the world look now at Chadwick Boseman, who passed away yesterday from colon cancer. It's a very sad thing. Just 43 years of age, and Chadwick left us with some important words of wisdom. He was a Howard University graduate, spoke to the class of 2018 at the commencement there for that graduating class. He had spent a brief bit of time with the now vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris. Both of them went to Howard University. And the last tweet that he sent out was of he and Kamala Harris. And he sent that tweet out earlier this month, around August 11th or so, with the hashtag when we all vote, vote 2020. Yes, at Kamala Harris. Chadwick Boseman has been tributed by numbers upon numbers of people in Hollywood who have worked with him or who knew him. Viola Davis on Twitter last night had some very fond words for Chadwick Boseman. Her tweet reads as follows, and she's at Viola Davis. Chadwick, no words to express my devastation of losing you. Your talent, your spirit, your heart, your authenticity, it was an honor working beside you, getting to know you. Rest well, Prince. May flights of angels sing thee to thy heavenly rest. I love you. That was from Viola Davis last night on Twitter. Many people paid tribute. As I said, some additional Hollywood figures who paid tribute to Chadwick Boseman was Mark Ruffalo, who I guess wouldn't call himself necessarily Hollywood, but he certainly was in Hollywood alongside Chadwick Boseman for Black Panther and the Avengers. And this is what Mark Ruffalo had to say last night on Twitter, at Mark Ruffalo. It was the highest honor getting to work with you and getting to know you. What a generous and sincere human being. You believed in the sacred nature of your work and gave it your all. Much love to your family and much love from all of us left here. That was from Mark Ruffalo, who worked with Chadwick Boseman on, I believe it was either, is it Black Panther? No, it was the Avenger movies, where, of course, they had all the characters in those movies. It could have been the Avengers, those last two Avengers movies that were split into two, but were really one long movie. There you have it on that from Mark Ruffalo. And there are many others who have been paying tribute yesterday and, over the last few hours into this day, the 29th of August. Chadwick Boseman was well liked by so many people, and it's just heartbreaking to know that he's no longer here. I just wish that he was able to. I just wish that he was able to be here still. And I tell you that in this horrible year that we've had here, this horrible calendar year, 2020, I just wish that all of these good people who have passed away, and those 183,000 people who have passed away from coronavirus here in the U.S., and the thousands upon hundreds of thousands who have passed away globally from this horrible virus, were all still with us. Chadwick Boseman, as I said earlier, in 2018, gave a keynote speech, I guess a commencement speech, at his alma mater, Howard University. And here's just an excerpt of part of that commencement address from 2018 at Howard University, Chadwick Boseman's alma mater.
And I want to say something to that. Sometimes your grades don't give a real indication of what your greatness might be. So it really is okay. For others, it was financial. You and your family struggled to make ends meet every semester of your matriculation. You had to stand in one line to get to another line, to get to another line for somebody that might help you. You had to work an extra job or two, but you're here. For a lot of you, not all, but a lot of you, your hardest struggle was social. Some of you never fit in. You were never as cool and as popular as you wanted to be. And it bothers you. So your social struggles here became psychological. Even though you made it up the hill, you carry the baggage of rejection with you. But you're here. Or some of you went through something traumatic. You made it to the top of the hill, but not without scars and bruises. Some of you fit in too much. You were on the yard rapping on your frat block when you were supposed to be in class. Or you got caught up in the DC party life. I know how that is. I mean, we're right here in the midst of the city. Sometimes you forgot you were in school. You probably could have graduated with honors, but instead you are getting an oh yeah degree today. Oh yeah, I have class. Oh yeah, I have that paper due. Oh yeah, I have a final. You were literally too cool for school. You waited until the last minute to do your best work, and it's a wonder that you made it up the hill at all because you carry the baggage of too much acceptance. Most of you graduating here today struggled against one or more of the impediments or obstacles I mentioned in order to reach this hilltop. When completing a long climb, one first experiences dizziness, disorientation, and shortness of breath due to the high altitude. But once you become accustomed to the climb, your mind opens up to the tranquility of the triumph. Oftentimes, the mind is flooded with realizations that were for some reason harder to come to when you were at a lower elevation. At this moment, most of you need some realizations because right now you have some big decisions to make. Right now, I urge you, in your breath, in your eyes, in your consciousnly, invest in the importance of this moment and cherish it. I know some of you might have partied last night. You should celebrate, but this moment is also part of that celebration. So savor the taste of your triumphs today. Don't just swallow the moment whole without digesting what has actually happened here. Look down over what you conquered and appreciate what God has brought you through.
Chadwick Boseman in an excerpt from his 2018 commencement speech at his alma mater, Howard University. We lost a really good soul here with Chadwick Boseman. We truly did. Some additional tributes now from people who worked with Chadwick Boseman. Josh Gad on Twitter worked with Chadwick, of course, in the film Marshall. You may have heard his voice earlier on a promo for that movie. The movie came out in 2017. Josh Gad played one of the lawyers that Thurgood Marshall worked with. And of course, as I said, Boseman played Marshall in the film called Marshall. Josh Gad on Twitter, @JoshGAD. Breaking my Twitter silence, he says, to share some beauty. This was one of my final texts from the brilliant and once-in-lifetime talent @Chadwick Boseman. Take this in and celebrate life. He knew how precious every moment was. Tonight, the heavens received one of its most powerful angels. This was the text I'm going to read out from Chadwick Boseman to Josh Gad. Catch the rain. If you are in Los Angeles, you woke up this morning to the rare and peaceful sound of a steady precipitation. If you're like me, maybe you looked at the week's forecast and found that it's supposed to rain for 3 straight days. Not without breaks of sunlight and reprieves of moist gloom. But yeah, it's going to be coming down like cats and dogs. Great. We're stuck inside these damn quarantines because of the COVID, and now we can't even get no sun in Cali? Come on now. But now that the rain has stopped and today's storm has cleared, I urge you to go outside and take a deep breath. Notice how fresh the air is right now after our skies have had a 3-week break from the usual relentless barrage of fumes from bumper to bumper LA commuters. And now today's rain has given the City of Angels a long overdue and much needed shower. Inhale and exhale this moment and thank God for the unique beauties and wonders of this day. We should take advantage of every moment we can to enjoy the simplicity of God's creation, whether it be clear skies and sun or clouded over with gloom. And hey, if the air is this clear right now and it does rain tomorrow, I might even put jars and bins out and catch the rain. Throw that in the water filter and I have a water more alkaline than any bottled brand out there. That was a text from Chadwick Boseman. It was sent to Josh Gad, who he starred with in the film Marshall in 2017. And I think that's really the appropriate place to end this edition of the Politicrat podcast episode on this August 29th. To Chadwick Boseman, rest in power, sir. May the angels continue to take good care of you. And thank you for your grace, your kindness, your genuine heart, and your incredible spirit, and your will to fight. And the way you illuminated the sky with your good sense of yourself, good-heartedness, generosity, and inspiration. Thank you, Chadwick. Rest in power.
But once you become accustomed to the climb, your mind opens up to the tranquility of the triumph. Oftentimes, the mind is flooded with realizations that were for some reason harder to come to when you were at a lower elevation. At this moment, most of you need some realizations because right now you have some big decisions to make. Right now, I urge you, in your breath, in your eyes, in your consciousness, invest in the importance of this moment and cherish it. I know some of you might have partied last night. You should celebrate, but this moment is also part of that celebration. So savor the taste of your triumphs today. Don't just swallow the moment whole without digesting what has actually happened here. Look down over what you conquered and appreciate what God has brought you through.
Chadwick Boseman in an excerpt from his 2018 commencement speech at his alma mater, Howard University. We lost a really good soul here with Chadwick Boseman. We truly did.